I'm James Parker, and this is Florida Story. All right, for our first Florida story, we are going courtside at a Miami Heat game. Few things are as cool as being courtside at an NBA game, and then Miami's just a super cool place to begin with. And the cameraman on the broadcast caught a cute little glimpse of a dog. There's a dog courtside. I know, and you've seen these little tiny dogs that people sort of treat as accessories, and they put them in a bag and they take them places like, it's not the first time a cute little Pomeranian has been courtside at an NBA game, but there's something different about this Pomeranian. This Pomeranian is bright yellow and has two little red circles on the sides of its cheeks, and with the ears pointed up, you can tell that this little dog is dyed to look like Pikachu. You know Pikachu from Pokemon, the little yellow guy? Ask your kids. But a South Florida man is now in trouble for having his dog dyed as Pikachu because there's some little namby-pamby ordinance or whatever that says it's illegal to dye or artificially color a rabbit, a dog, or small animals like that. And so this guy is now being given a citation for a fine of $200, and he's challenging it in court. This is an American hero, a Florida hero, that says, I demand my constitutional right to dye my dog to look like Pikachu, or it could look like Charmander, or I don't know what. But I thought this was the free country. I thought this was America, at least Florida. Hold my beer.
Hold my beer.
Hold my beer.
Hold my beer.
For our next Florida story, this is incredibly dumb. Ponciana, Florida. You've never heard of it because it's a tiny little town out in the middle of nowhere. It's like 35 miles south of Orlando and just sort of like this island of land in the swamps where they first came on the radar, this adorable little Florida couple. They're in the Dollar General. Of course, he has to shoplift some stuff from the Dollar General. However, the employees see him. They tell him to stop. He just walks out, and they're not going to fight him or anything, so they just call the cops. So now the cops are on the lookout for this couple, and it turns out right after their trip to Dollar General, they went into a house. They noticed no one was in the driveway. It looks like no one's home, so they just let themselves in, and they're going through, see if they can find anything of value, and they do. And so they're trying to move this big piece of furniture out, but the wife is too small, and so the husband needs help. And so I don't know what drugs they were on, but they must have been really good because these people called 911. 911, can I help you? Yes. Can you send someone over here to help us move this piece of furniture out of this house so we can load it? They called the cops on themselves. So they're going to jail. Hold my beer.
Hold my beer.
Hold my beer.
Hold my beer.
For our next Florida story, this is an update on something that happened in Palm Beach. There's you might remember this from a previous edition of Florida Stories. There was like the 18-year-old kid that was posing as a doctor. He opened a clinic in a strip mall, supposedly, wore the lab coat and the stethoscope and was trying to see patients. And, of course, he has no license. This is just he's like a real demented version of Catch Me If You Can. He's like a con artist, but you see what his angle is. He's not just a regular doctor. He comes back, and a couple years later, he tries it again, posing as a gynecologist. And I don't know how many patients he saw. I never got clarity on that. But he finally got sentenced for that. This all started back in 2017, and here we are how many years later. And it looks like he's getting 28 months in prison. So if you're wondering how much prison time you're looking at if you put on a lab coat and pretend to be an air quotes gynecologist just to see how many ladies you can dupe, you're looking at 28 months. Hold my beer.
Hold my beer. Hold my beer.
Hold my beer.
For our next Florida story, we're going to Kissimmee. It's in Polk County. And these two guys were in business together, a 31-year-old Florida man and a 39-year-old Florida man. And I don't know if business was good or business was bad, or maybe somebody was stealing money from the cash register or someone, I don't know, kissed someone else's wife. But there was some bad blood between these guys apparently because one of them pulls the gun, and the other guy pulls his gun. So we have an old-fashioned shootout, like OK Corral, except these are business partners. And again, I do not know. They do not tell me what predicated the argument. But they shot each other. This is like a movie scene. Like, what is this, Keanu Reeves? So they shoot each other. One guy falls over and can't move. He's just bleeding out on the spot. The other guy makes it to his car, and he's driving himself to a hospital, but he passes out behind the wheel from blood loss, crashes the car, and he ends up dying. They both die. And because they both died, we will never know what started this argument.
Wait,
Hold my beer.
Hold my beer.
Hold my beer. What is this?
All right. Thank you to a listener named Tim for sending me this one. Apparently, I missed it back in May. A Florida woman was driving recklessly on a Key Largo road. And a couple funny things about this. There's like 10 funny things about this. Oh, yeah, just another DUI. Hang on a second. First off, she's 19. That's pretty impressive by DWI standards. Okay, so she's a minor getting a DWI. Another funny thing about this is her name. Her name is Shania Miracle Douglas. That's a fantastic middle name, Shia Miracle. Never heard that before. Love it. And then another thing is she said, good. I had this on my bucket list. And I found that interesting because how many 19-year-olds have a bucket list? If you're 19 years old, why do you have a bucket list? You know, you still got hopefully 50 or so years to sort all this out before you even need to think about a bucket list. And also, did you not think you were going to be able to pull that off? Is that a hard one? Oh, I wish I would get caught drunk driving. What kind of crap is that on your bucket list? Shia Miracle. Might not be the last time we hear that name. Hold my beer.
Wait,
Hold my beer.
what?
Hold my beer. Hold my beer. What is this?
All right, for our next Florida story, we're going to Lakeland, Florida. And we're going to go back in time 21 years. This is so cute. A young couple in college. They're about to graduate and start their new life. And during the holidays, the boyfriend gets on a knee and in front of the family asks her to marry him. She says, of course, of course, of course. It's the happiest moment of their life thus far. She goes to the bathroom, and she thinks she left it on the side of the sink and accidentally knocked it in the toilet and then flushed it. So the fiance has to go out and go through the septic tank. And when I say go through the septic tank, they pumped everything out of the septic tank and ran it through a strainer looking for that ring. It wasn't in there. And it's not just about the cost of the gold and the giant diamond that was on there. I mean, she didn't get to wear it but like a few hours before she lost it. And so we fast forward to the current times. The toilet breaks. They have to buy a new one. When the plumber's in there making the change, a ring falls out. So now, here's the context. We have the long lost engagement ring that you looked at, and even though you only got to see it for a precious few hours 21 years ago, that image has been burned in your mind this entire time. And that longing and that keepsake and the memories and the meaning of it, just all, you get it all back now immediately. On the flip side of that, it's been through 21 years of every single one of you and your husband's dumps. Do you keep it? They say they're going to keep the diamond and maybe get it reset on something else. Thought that was weird. Hold my beer.
Wait,
Hold my beer.
what?
Hold my beer. Hold my beer. What is this?
For our next Florida story, you're going to like this one. Florida now leads the United States in population growth for the first time in 65 years. This is a huge deal because Florida is already the nation's third most populous state. And for it to be the third most populous state and the fastest growing, that's huge. Florida is growing by leaps and bounds. So good job, Florida. That's good for Florida stories. So we're going to have material for years to come.
Wait,
Hold my beer.
what?
Hold my beer. Hold my beer. What is this?
Florida Stories is produced by Spring Rock. Follow me on Twitter at Florida Stories J. I'm James Parker, and this is Florida Stories.
Jackin.
Lo and behold, my man, we got you to you won the house, you got in, we got you closed up, and in record time too, I might add, right?
Yeah, it all went very smoothly. The sellers received our offer along with another offer at the same time, but your fast track approval process carried extra weight with their realtor and the buyers, and so they ended up accepting our offer. And you and your staff were right there with us all along the way, getting everything tied up in a nice bow. And we were really approved and cleared to close early. We just had some other time constraints involved that had nothing to do with you guys at Mortgage Gumbo.
Yep.
But It all went great.
I appreciate that, Mr. Gabe. Thanks.